Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Filling Your Cup. I'm your host, David.
I'm your other host, Calvin. What's up?
And this week, we're going to do something a little different. Instead of, going over a news story or something interesting that happened in the past 2 weeks because we missed a video last week, we're going to talk about retirement and who doesn't like to talk about retirement because, it's in the imminent future, 30, 40, 50 years down the road, boom, retired. And you want to be kind of prepared for it. So this week, we're going to talk about the two accounts, the Roth IRA account and the traditional IRA account. And take it off, Calvin. Let the people know what's up.
Yeah, so it's not too early to think about retirement, even though we're young and carefree right now. The sooner you start thinking about it, the better you off later, and don't have to worry about it and freaking out later. So, two main individual retirement accounts that are IRAs for short are the Roth IRA or the traditional IRA. And if you have an employer and that gives you a 401k, that's a separate thing that we could talk about later. But let's focus on the two main ones: traditional and Roth IRA. So they both. So in order to qualify for the Roth IRA, you have to make at least or below. You have to make below $124,000 as of 2020. 124K in order to qualify for the Roth IRA. Individually, right? But if you're married, I believe it's 204,000 if you file the joint tax. For the traditional IRA, there's no requirement, there's no limit in terms of your income. So there's that. Whether you qualify for Roth or traditional, there are both pros and cons for both. So let's talk about the Roth IRA for a moment. So the pros of having a Roth is you're able to withdraw your gains and your investments later on tax free. That's huge, right? Nobody wants to be taxed. Nobody wants to
money, man. Yes, that's huge. Yes.
Uncle Sam ain't touching that. So later on, that's all yours. But the pros of it now is there's no immediate tax relief when you're contributing right now. So
the
cons, yeah. So what you put in is it's what you're gonna get later on, but not now.
What you contribute basically is it's post-tax money, so it's
post-tax.
There's no benefit from the taxman. When you're filing your taxes, there's no benefit for you.
Exactly. But compared to a traditional IRA, let's say you make whatever the tax bracket you are, the next tax bracket, if you're able to kind of contribute enough to bring you down to a lower tax bracket, hey, you're paying less taxes right now. That can benefit you immediately for the traditional IRA.
Yeah. So for Calvin's example, right? If for example, like if the threshold to the next bracket is like $5,000, like we'll just say you're at 98, and the bracket is at like 103. If you contribute to the traditional IRA, it will knock your taxable income down to 98. So you'll get taxed at that lower rate. So that's like the benefit of traditional. But usually, if people who use traditional, I would say they're like the ones who can't use Roth because they make too much money. So I mean, at that point, does it really matter? I mean, I guess this video is more catered to people who like currently don't have an account yet, and like who don't make like exorbitant amount of money. So it makes more sense to so we're kind of like catering to like those people, but there is like a tax, like a benefit from like from doing the traditional and getting knocked down to like a lower tax bracket. So that's kind of what it is.
Exactly. But the other con is for the traditional.
Major con.
Major con. When you withdraw it later, you get taxed again.
You hit on the butt.
On the butt. But it's good for people who are paying lower, like expected to pay lower taxes later on, so they can just pay their taxes now, and have a lower tax bracket, pay their taxes now, and maybe let's say they aren't expected to make any money, so when they withdraw, they don't get hit with double tax. So that's one of the other.
Because when you withdrawing, right, by 72, you're kind of expected to be retired. So at that point, your tax bracket is you're probably going to be at the lowest, depending on if you have any other investment accounts. So if you have no other investment income, then you're going to probably get taxed at the lowest rate. At that point. So, but like I said, like traditional, like personally, I feel like people who have traditional is because they make too much money for the Roth IRA.
Yeah,
they don't qualify for that, so they don't have a choice, right? Like they have to do the traditional, but yeah, okay.
Yeah. So both IRAs, I think your limit to contribute each year is $6,000 or $7,000 if you're 50 and older. So each year, that's all you can put in. And well, just going over the 401k lately, that's something your employer will give you, right? That's not something you could go to a bank or a broker to say, I want a 401k. So you have to, find a job a good job that your employer have good benefits that supply.
I mean, Calvin, you can't say that because you can't. It's like good job. It's like not, you can't say like go find. I mean, of course you want a good job, but like ideally you want to have a job. Doesn't matter if it's a good job or bad job. As long as some people as long as you're getting paid is a good job, right?
Yeah,
it's like I stole this mantra from somebody, but your job is vacation from poverty. Hey, that's how I see it. That's how I go for it. That's why I try to be like like a really great employee, to keep my job. But yes, ideally you want a job or employer who offers you like a 401k, because the 401k is basically like it's like a replacement of like a pension plan from back then. Because back then every company mostly they offer you a pension plan which covers you through retirement. But nowadays like nobody offers that besides unless you work for the government or the city or anything at federal or like state level, then you might get a pension. But those might not even stay because almost all pensions are underfunded. So it's like you don't know when that money's gonna run out. So a 401k is like ideally you would want an employer who offers you 401k, and if they do offer 401k, there is also the Roth option or the traditional option. And most employers, if they offer it, they do like a matching. They do matching, so they'll match up to like maybe like 3 to 5% of your annual income. So that's like free money. So if your employers offer 401ks, just at least contribute up to the match, so you get that free money basically. So if they match up to like 3% and you make 60, 70K a year, then you get like a couple $1,000 match for free. So that's we can touch more on the 401k, but that's kind of like the gist of it. And but yeah, continue, Calvin. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. That's great insight, Dave. So it's great to have a IRA right from the get-go. So go ahead. There are numerous amount of banks and brokerages that offer IRAs. Just open one. The earlier you open one, the earlier you contribute, the better you off later on.
Ooh, can I give a tip? So the thing is, there's like an annual limit of contribution, right? But once you miss the deadline, you can't back contribute. So even though you're not gonna invest that money in anything like in the stock market or in the stock or a mutual fund or an index fund, you should still invest. You should still put money into a Roth IRA, because I'm catering to people who qualify for Roth. You should still put money into a Roth just so you have money in there for you to invest in the future. Because once the year has passed, you can't contribute to like Roth anymore. And that Roth is very beneficial down the road if you for retirement. So I guess my tip is to just open an account and put money in it. Even though you're not gonna spend the money, just have the money sitting in there. ready to be invested when you like do a little more research, because like once you miss that time, man, like you can't contribute that 6,000 anymore. And that 6,000 is it's a lot down the road. And I will do like a little example uh later in this video to show how impactful this $6,000 can be. But yeah, finish your thought, Calvin. My bad.
No worries. Yeah, so don't miss that timeline. So don't miss that annual timeline for that 6K, or else you'll regret it and you can't put in money into your account to take advantage of that compound interest that Dave's gonna
Love
talk to
that
you.
word, bro. Compound interest. I love that word, dude.
Yeah. Anything else that we're missing, Dave?
No, I think you basically cover basically almost over everything. So I just want to so if you're good, then I want to go over like a quick example of to show like why, like how impactful this $6,000 can be. So the annual return of the S&P the annual return of the market is over the last 10 years is like 9.2%, which is like it's fairly respectable. And the average return of the S&P, which is like the S&P, which is like the top 500 companies in like America. Is it only America? Is only American companies, right? The S&P 500. I think so.
Correct. Yes.
And their annual average for the last 10 years is 13.6%. So it's fairly respectable, right? If you like these videos, if you want videos to like, because like me and Calvin are both invested in the market, and you want to see how our portfolios do it over the market. It's we can do like videos on that, but you gotta comment and let us know you want that video, because we're too lazy just to make that video if no one's gonna watch it. But if you look at the return for the past over the course of COVID, most stocks are up 300 to 400%. Think about that, 300 to 400%. That's wild. That's like, I mean, that's unheard of. But that's what happens when there's a correction, and we can touch upon that later in a different video. But so like what I was saying, like, so the average return of the market is like 9.2, and the average of return of S&P is 13.6. So let's just do an example, right? Let's do compound interest. That's what you mentioned. Let's do it. So let's say we start currently at $6,000. Like right now, we're starting a new account, $6,000, and then we're gonna contribute $6,000, right? Because that's the limit of the Roth. Annually, I'm gonna put additional $6,000 to this original $6,000, and then let's just say years ago, I'm planning to retire in 30 years. I mean, you can leave the account in there forever, because Roth, there's no mandatory withdrawal. For like a traditional IRA, you have to start withdrawing at 72, but for a Roth, there's no like requirement, so you can keep the money in there as long as you want. So let's assume years to grow. Let's give it 30 years to grow. Interest rate. So what's the rate of return of the year, right? So let's just assume it's 9.2, right? Some years are gonna be higher, some years are gonna be lower, but let's do the average. The average of 10 years is 9.2. Let's just do 9.2, and then so in 30 years, if you start at $6,000, you contribute $6,000 every year. In 30 years, you're gonna have $1 million. That's pretty freaking Gucci, right? That's so. And then here's where it comes to comes down to Roth or traditional IRA. This is if you have a choice to choose between one or the other. So if you so over that course of 30 years, it means you contributed 180K of your own money, 180K either post tax or pre-tax money. So let's look at the benefit, right? If you did 100K pre-tax, that means you did the traditional IRA. That means 180K, and I'm assuming you get taxed at the 35% tax rate. I mean, you can. I'm gonna post a snippet of like a calculator so you can just do your own math. But let's just assume you're getting taxed at 35%. So 180K, 35%, you're gonna pay 63K in taxes for the 180K traditional. But you're like, oh man, that's a lot of money, right? But look at it this way though. If you look at the Roth, right? The Roth, your portfolio have grown to $1 million, and you contributed post-tax money of 180K, right? So $100 million subtract 180K, that means 820K left in the account is remaining. Those are all gains, right? And the 820K is all non-taxable. It's all tax-free, so there's no tax implication of it. Oh,
all your money.
I think I messed up. I think I messed up. I think so for the Roth IRA, Roth IRA is that's a post tax money, right? So that means
Yeah.
180K, you pay 35% on it, you pay 63K in taxes for the Roth. But then that means 820K of it is all tax free. Boom. It's all your money. No one touches that. But if you do the traditional one, right? You
Yeah.
save you save 100 you save 63K, assuming the same math, 35% tax rate. You paid 180K. You save on the 63K taxes, so you don't pay that. But then when the time comes, the whole $1 million is all taxable. So that $1 million will get taxed at 35. Well, by the time you retire, this is assuming you're at the lowest tax bracket. So let's just say 15%, right? 15%. So that $1 million you get taxed at 15%. That's still 150K. I mean, so you compare 63K versus 150K. That's assuming you're at the lowest tax bracket. So you might have, and down the road, you might have like have start your own business and you get like annual income coming in and you get taxed at the highest bracket. So that 15% could be like 40%. So you could actually be paying 400K in taxes when you're withdrawing money. So that's like the tax implication of Roth and traditional. And I mean, that's astounding to me, right? Like, so that's why like I think Roth is like the easy way to go because you're like, I already pay taxes. I'm gonna forget about it. Like I don't want to forget about it. I don't want to worry about taxes. Which is, it sounds like the lazy way to go, but sometimes lazy isn't bad. Like lazy is the way to go because no matter how you want to slice this pie, you pay 100K, you contribute 180K, you get taxes. Say you get taxed at 40%. You're still gonna pay only like maybe $70,000 in taxes versus the gain that you're gonna get, assuming you get the average 9.2% a year, boom boom boom, 30 years, dude, that's $1 million tax, basically tax free. So that's something to think about, man. Like, so long story short, I think me and Calvin we're both contributed in the Roth IRA because we see the tax benefit of it, but we're not trying to sway you to do either Roth or IRA, but to do at least one account because like to me, I think investing in the market, you have to invest in something in life, whether it's the market, the housing market, yourself, which means like you're starting your own business. Like you have to invest in something. And to us, we see the market as it's pretty liquid market because like if you're in the housing market, if you buy a house, in order to liquidate a house, you have to sell it, and that process is daunting. It takes a while. But like the stock market, it could be liquid depending on how you invest or trade. We can have another video on the difference between investing and trading. I mean, it's pretty simple, but there's still logic behind it of why you would do one or the other. But yeah, that's kind of like our basic presentation of why we think that most people should have an IRA account. And like some statistics, like only like there is 43% household contribute to a traditional IRA, and there's 44% contribute to a Roth. That means more than half of the households contribute to some type of IRA, which is good. Like you see those here on news stories saying like, oh, half, like 50% of the Americans can't come over for $5,000 when an emergency, right? I mean, like, yeah, we get those situations. Like we know, like, not everybody can contribute $6,000 a year because that's still a lot of money to some people, right? 6,000, that's shit. It's a lot of money to me, man. So I say contribute as much as you can, but try to max out that account because that's your money. Like especially if you do the Roth account, it's not tax free, it's post tax. But what you make in that portfolio is all yours. Of course, you can lose money. I mean, if you invest in some like bad stocks, like we all have done it. Like long story short, we both believe that you should invest in something, and might as well have a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA. Just have an account so you can invest. And like, so yeah, let us know in the comment section if you want more videos like this. And so what's our so what do you always like to say, Calvin?
Like, comment, subscribe.
Oh, you can't just say that. You gotta say please, right?
Please, peace on the comments right there.
So yeah, I mean, I feel like this video was pretty cool. So and we would like to do more of these type of videos because it's informative and it's educational for everybody, I think. So yeah, until next time.